Okay, I guess we are finally online. It took me a while to figure out why the OBS is having some issues. Anyway, welcome. This is the first stream, and during that stream, I will try to build some software and go through the whole process, like from the problem we are solving to the uh, hopefully something working. And maybe let's get to the agenda today. So I would like to first explain the problem we are solving, and you can kind of see it here because it's related to Pomodoro timer. I have to pick the project name, and I have no idea how to do it, so I will just use ChatGPT to suggest something. We'll do some basic system design, but this is not going to be like on a job interview. I will just try to put some stuff and arrows on the blank canvas and figure out what to do with it. I need to figure out what are the phases of the software development. So I have to spike few solutions first, and then figure out what to do with the results. I would like to put some technology on also empty canvas and have some notes about what I want to use, what I definitely don't want to use, and how it fits in the system design. And then in the end, I'll create a GitHub project to manage tasks and maybe create some repositories, but that's maybe. Uh, okay, so first, the problem that I want to solve. So this is a Pomodoro timer. It's focused to do. I think it's actually great. I love it. I even paid for the app, but it has an issue that is really annoying. I mean, it's working on all the platforms. I'm using it on Linux, macOS, on my iPhone, on my Apple Watch, because there is a cool complication. But it has one annoying thing. So if I start the timer here and then I go to my phone, just a second. It's not in sync, and because it's not in sync with my phone, it's also not in sync with my watch. So if I hide this, I won't get any notification on my watch. If I have like focus mode on my computer, I won't get notification. Maybe some sound, whatever. But I would really like all my devices to sync. And that's the idea for the project, to create Pomodoro tracker, maybe with some to-do list, whatever, that will come later, but with multiple clients, so native desktop app, Android, iPhone, Apple Watch, maybe Android Watch, but I don't own any, so maybe it doesn't make sense. And the desktop like browser extension, and make all those clients to sync. Yeah, so that's the project, and now we have to pick up the name. For that purpose, I will use ChatGPT because I'm not really creative and I'm lazy. So let's try to ask ChatGPT. Can I make it larger? Okay, whatever. Uh, okay, whatever. Okay, so we have those 10. I wonder if I can just scale the browser. Oh, jeez. It's not working here. Okay, never mind. So we have few names: Pomodoro Pro, Time Slice, Focus Flow. Focus Flow is nice. Tomato Task. Oh. Zen Timer. Timer Zen. Pomodoro Live. Focus Flow. Isn't that like the app on macOS for creating notes? Zen Timer. I like Zen Timer. Is it available on Google Play Store? Okay, so let's check. Is it available on Google Play Store? And let's search for Zen Timer. Nope. On Apple. Yeah. Can I? That's not it. Okay, allow. Whatever. Zen Timer. Cut downs. Be focused. Flow. Whatever. Okay. Doesn't look like it. Okay, let's call it Zen Timer. Okay, so where's the... Okay, so we have the name. I'll just take a note, not forget it. Maybe let's have a look once again on the what ChatGPT propose. Oh, Komodo buddy. Oh, no way. Zen timer, focus flow, tomato tasks, time slice. Oh no, Zen timer is nice. Okay, cool. I will leave ChatGPT open because we might need it. And the next thing I want to do is do some system design. And that's gonna be a bit tricky because I don't want to go into any... I don't want to go too deep into that. I just want to put some stuff on the canvas to not forget what I'm actually trying to build here. And to do this, I will use Obsidian. If I can use Obsidian. Okay, it's here. And yeah, let me just put it here, not like that. Okay, perfect. And let's use Excalibur. Okay. Anyway, it's some drawing tool to keep my notes in my Obsidian. How it's called? Vault, I guess. Okay, cool. So, like I said, I want to have few clients. So I definitely want to have Android client. Okay, I cannot do this, but I can do copy image. Is it like a fake PNG? Oh, whatever. So anyway, I want to have Android phone client. I definitely want to have iPhone client. Okay, let's copy this image. I want to have web browser client, like an extension to web browser. Okay, I guess that's the nice icon. And then like Apple Watch. And desktop app. Maybe let's put, I definitely want to have macOS. And I want to have Windows. What's the latest Windows icon? I don't know. Copy image. And maybe Linux. Okay. I just noticed I'm keeping it black and white. It's kind of neat. Okay, where is the tux? That's fine. Cool. Okay. Maybe let's put it like those are the client apps. Kind of resize it. This is connected here and those. Okay. So I want to have this app available on all those platforms. I probably will need some backend. I mean, I'm pretty sure I will need some backend. I don't want to pick technology yet. This is why we will. I'll create the map later on and pick up whatever suits me later. So how to call it? Hub. So I want all those apps to synchronize. Just put some server icon, whatever. Maybe like this one. Yeah, cool. Copy image. I don't want it to be that bad. Okay, and all of those will communicate with the server. And also get notifications back when something happens. So when I start Pomodoro timer on my Android app, I would like my desktop app to be also notified that, hey, it happened and when it happened. And actually that's the tricky part, when, because I will need to find a way to synchronize time between all the devices, because you literally cannot rely on time set by the user or whatever. So there would definitely have to be some timer or ticker. I'm looking for an icon. Okay, let's maybe use this one. some timekeeping part of this server app that would also share with the clients so they can send back information that the event happened at that particular time, but based on the server time, not local time of macOS or Linux, whatever. Yeah, and for that, I will probably also need some database. So if, for example, you start event on Android and your computer is off, it won't receive this event, but I want to keep this event somewhere. Uh, Also, it would be good to keep some settings, user data. Mm. What else? Tasks and user Pomodoro status, so it would keep information. Is it started? When it started? Which tasks is it connected to? Because the Pomodoro timer can be like blank, like I have it now here, so I don't have any task selected, but I can also pick one of the tasks here. Okay, never mind. Go back and go back here. I don't know which database to pick. It doesn't matter at this point because I first need to figure out how to solve the biggest issue. So synchronizing all those different clients. For sure, if I start Pomodoro from, let's say, Android app, I am talking Android app because it's first on the top and I'm also Android developer. If you start it, it should start locally and inform the server app and then send events to all other clients if they are subscribed to those to that information. But if they are off, like turned off devices or whatever, they won't get this notification. I will for sure need to update the database with the Pomodoro status information. So then when you log in on another device or something, and you can just get the status, current status. So the your local Pomodoro on another device will update itself. Uh, I don't aim into like perfect atomic sync between those timers because it doesn't really matter if you start Pomodoro on Android and after 10, 15, 30 even seconds you get information on your macOS as soon as as long as it happens because if you get the server time, so it started at T1 uh, and you get informed on macOS that it started on T1, you know the difference from between T1 and the current time synchronized with server, you can subtract the difference between those two times and just get the right timer anyway. Uh, I don't care about milliseconds anyway. It's like you don't need that information in Pomodoro timer. Let's be honest. Yeah, let's maybe move this one here, and add a note that this is some time sync service and start timer, and on the other notify timer started, let's say. Yeah, cool. Yeah, and same here. So we have few pieces here. The client apps, the server app, and let's say the time sync service, and this will be crucial. And this is very like high overview uh, for the whole service application. I don't know what those balloons were. Never mind. So okay, that's the basic idea. And now the real problem is synchronization, like I said already a few times. And there are a few ways to solve it. I'm not sure if this is the. Let me just system design project phases. Okay, so there are few ways to solve the synchronization issue. The one I want to use and try as first one, it seems almost too good and too easy to be true, and this is just Fire-based notifications. So it's called FCM, I think, Fire-based Cloud Messaging, because it works on Android, iOS, and you can also send like silent notifications. So there is no pop-up, you just inform some background service that something happened, and then the service can just react. And background services will be extremely important for that because I there are background and foreground services on mobile devices, at least on Android. I don't know iOS. That's the next step for me to figure out. But I need this to work on background services because I also want when the background service is updated, I also wanted to update my watch. So on my watch, when I just turn my wrist, I have a complication, so I can see how much time is left, and I don't need any timer like in my face, because that's distracting. And the whole point of Pomodoro is to not get distracted. So I will just make a note here that I want to use background services, and here it's actually, I need to figure out how to place it nicer. Can I twist it? You, that's not what I wanted. Okay. And it works the same way with browser extension and the native desktop app. Also, I wanted to put some icons for the browser, so I definitely want to do Chrome. I don't know if you can write a single browser extension to support all the browsers, especially that they are using different engine underneath. But I definitely want to do Chrome, Firefox. Let's make it smaller. And Safari, but that's like the last priority. I'm kind of scared that Safari will be the hardest one to do. Sure. Uh, Obviously, we will need some authentication and user management, so you don't start Pomodoro for everyone and nobody can start Pomodoro for you. I don't aim into any like team task management or time reporting. Maybe time reporting wouldn't be too bad, but that will come way later. First problem to solve is the synchronization. So what was the next step? Sorry, I need to look on the slides. So okay, that's system design project phases technology. So just so I won't forget. There are a few ways to solve this synchronization problem. So like I mentioned, Firebase Cloud Messaging. It seems too good to be true. I don't know what's the like pricing on Firebase Cloud Messaging, because it might be good for small scale, but if ever this application gets popular and a lot of people will send a lot of start, stop, pause, whatever events, and I will synchronize everything using FCM, there will be a lot of notifications. Also, I'm not sure how reliable they are. Like, what's the accepted time or delay between notification happening and actually sending it over? If it's few seconds, 30 seconds, even a minute, then cool. I'm fine with that. If not, if it's like it may happen in 15 minutes or whatever, then it's pointless to use it. I'm also not a big fan of vendor locking, but for mobile applications, I mean, I will have to use Firebase for like account management, creating accounts. It's making a lot of things so much easier. So Firebase would be my first thing to check. Actually, is it working? Uh, Other solution might be implementing some WebSockets. So there would be WebSocket on the server and in the background service, and it's getting complicated here because I don't think Android will allow for something long running or WebSocket running in the background. I don't know if it's even allowed in the latest Android. But like Firebase is using WebSockets, I believe, to send those messages, so it has to work somehow. Maybe periodically start WebSocket and just listen if there were any new events to send over. Uh, Another thing, it's something I really don't like, but I know it's working. So it's called long pulling, I think. Is it double O or single O? Just a second. It's a single O and double L. Uh, and it works like this: you send a request with a long timeout, and you may get a response or you may not get a response. But not getting response, so timeout on that particular request, is not an error. It's just an information. Nothing happened in that period. And if something happens, you get the response immediately. What I don't like here is, well, the server will have to maintain a lot of connections with a lot of clients at all times, and I don't think it's easy to implement, or how many resources will it eat. Same with WebSockets. Like every client would have to open a WebSocket to the server, so it's not really good solution. I think it may work for one client, or if I do it just for myself. But like, what's the point of building software just for myself? I want to. If it works, I would like to share it with others. So Firebase seems to be solving a lot of those issues in a nice way, uh, and this is what I want to start my spike with. Uh, okay, so I think we can jump to project phases. Because this is way too much to handle at once. And if the synchronization with Firebase doesn't work as I want, I don't know if there is a point of actually doing this project. I don't want to build another Pomodoro app that works on a single like local instance. That's not fun. And I believe if Focus To Do, or I don't know if there are other Pomodoro. I mean, there is a ton of. If they are as like having a lot of clients, because Focus Studio has client for basically every platform. If they didn't figure it out, there must be a reason. But also, I want to try to solve this on my own. Uh, cool. So let's maybe create a new drawing. Okay. And where is it now? Oh, great. Maybe let's rename it to just system design, and this will be phases. So can I draw a rectangle? Cool. So first I want to create some spike. Uh, spike, if you don't know, it's a way to test some technology or solution without actually promising that this will be a final code and it will go to production. There is even a I don't know, not really a movement, but like approach to spikes, that if you finish the spike, you write down new results, you document things, because that's actually really important, to document whatever you found and remove it, delete it, like it's gone, and then use the document that you created to create a proper solution. Because oftentimes when you create a spike and it kinda works, but it's disgusting code and a lot of hacks and shortcuts, and then you display it on some demo for management or whatever, they're like, okay, we want this on production next week, and this is not how it's supposed to work. So the idea here is to spike the synchronization. So I want to test Firebase Cloud Messaging as a sync solution between clients. And to do this, I need to have at least 2 clients. So client apps, to not confuse it with like real people buying stuff. I definitely want to have Android app, and I want to have a browser extension. The reason for it is I'm an Android developer, so creating an app would be pretty easy for me. Also to deal with the background services and stuff. And the browser extension, because I never created one, I have no clue even where to start with browser extension, but I want my system to have browser extension even before I have native apps, because I also don't have any experience with native apps. And it should be fairly easy. Like the browser extension, for the spike purposes, it will be single button. After clicking the button, it should send some event to backend. The backend for this phase, I don't want to create anything. I think I will, if we are using Firebase Cloud Messaging, I can use, they have like the Lambda functions, or you write it in JavaScript, I think. So you don't have to create a special app, you just call a function and it does something. I think I've been using it for some pet project already, and for the purposes of the spike. So basically creating a notification for Android, it should be enough. Yeah, so okay, so maybe not 2 client apps, but conditions, constraints, whatever. And the goals I would like to achieve here is get silent notification, because I don't want to show anything on the to the user in. Okay. So I want to get, why it's so small? Okay, that's better. In background service in Android app. And read it contents, because I need to actually send something from the not just empty notification, but I like to pass some data. So after clicking, it's sending event to backend. I don't know what I would like to send there. Maybe just a timestamp. Or other info. If I find a way to send, like, I don't know, browser version or some machine information, whatever metadata is easily available for the browser extension, then I will just use it just to have some data that I can then read in the background service. Okay, is there anything else I might wanna do here? Okay, so this is the goal, to get silent notification in background service in Android. And maybe let's do the other way around. So if I click a button in the app, the browser extension should also get information, right? Why it's not scrolling? Okay, Android app. Also one button. So like the same functionality. Okay, so it's like copy paste, exactly the same. And the browser extension. Okay. Well, get silent notification in browser extension. I don't know how browser extensions are actually logging stuff, or I can just display the value there. Yeah, let's go like this. And oh, and the goal should be to, like I said, document stuff. If the spike fails, I need to kind of rethink the whole solution. I'm putting a lot of weight on the Firebase cloud messaging to solve my problem. If it's not working properly, I will have to probably create a way deeper system design diagram to still send events from all the clients, and probably use some event queue like Kafka or whatever, or some database to build a queue on that, so the clients can from time to time pull the data from the this queue or even database. I mean, if I send an event from an app, it's the Pomodoro uh, timer shouldn't rely on that request to backend even to be successful or not. Uh, it should just start locally. If the event doesn't work, it should kind of be kept locally and then retried after maybe some time. There will be rules for that implemented in the app, but that's like really next step. But let's hope this works and I don't have to revisit the synchronization issue. Let's just zoom out. Why it's okay. So this is the first phase, and I will let's do it in. I think Chrome would be the nicest, or Fire. How was it called? Firefox. One of those. I mean, they are pretty open, I believe. So extensions shouldn't be that hard to implement. And the second phase. So if this works, and do I have any? Let me just check my notes. Okay, not really. So second phase would be proper app design. So after the spike, I will know what if Firebase works for me or not. If it doesn't, then I have to design some stuff. If not, I still have to design the application. So create layouts and start coding. And I don't want to start coding all the clients at once because it will be like 1, 2, 3 if you include watch, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 clients. Like sorry, no can do. I will do it one by one. So here I will have to design app. Let's start from Android. What else? Design browser extension, because in Spike we have one button, and like I said, I don't want to use any code from the Spike. I just want to see if it solves my problem. So I want to design the browser extension. We have to figure out user logging. Authentication, whatever. And okay, let's say on this step, I mean, okay, this is just design, so I don't need to code anything still. It will be a really boring stream with no coding for a few sessions, but designing is still fun, for me at least. So I need to figure out user logging out. I have to pick technologies, because there will be some backend, there probably will be some database, most probably. There will be there are a few languages or frameworks that I can use to uh, to create that. So languages, probably some hosting, database. What else there? Yeah, there will be plenty of stuff to decide on, and I will have to do it here more or less. I mean, I will push decisions as far as possible, because that's the good practice, but I have to make some decisions here. And okay, so we'll have designed Android application, or maybe just mobile. Functionalities should be the same for Android, iOS. They will probably just look a bit different. Okay. Event types. Let's say queues, Kafka. Uh, Database schema, if we will have any, depends on database type. Um, okay, I think that's it, at least for now. Uh, so that's the design phase. Cool. Next phase would be to actually start implementing stuff. So let's move it here. Implement first clients, because I don't want to implement all at once. So that would be implement Android app client. I will split it for multiple tasks later on when I create project, and it will be pretty agile, I would say, because I don't have a clue how to do it yet. Uh, Implement browser extension. Backend service. And okay. For single browser. Cool. And I guess that's it. I don't see a point of adding more phases because it will all kind of depend on first two. But after phase 3, I would like to have an app, Android app in Google Play Store that I can use and the browser extension that I can use. So at this point, users should be able to log in and start their Pomodoro timers. And later on, I will be adding more extensions, more like the iOS app, the Watch app, the native desktop native apps. They will come later on, because if you have a desktop extension, you're kind of good. Like everyone have not sorry desktop extension, the browser extension, because everyone uses browsers. So and that should be easier to implement than the native desktop app. Cool. What's next? So you have some phases. Technology mind map. Okay, that's actually really wanted to do this. This should be interesting. So with so many clients, you have really a lot of technologies to pick up, because mobile apps can be written in a few different languages or frameworks. Same with desktop apps. And nope, not new node. And I want to put it all on like single canvas, map it together, like what goes where or what can I use, and then kind of decide what I really want to use and what I would hate to use. So okay, let's create a new drawing, and let's name it. Uh, I don't know if mind map is the right term for that, but I have some notes, so I can use it. Let's maybe put something in the middle and call it tech stack, maybe. Cool. And we have few branches going from here. So we will have mobile apps, right? We will have server app, I guess. for backend. We will have browser extensions. And we will have the desktop apps. Lovely. Cool. Now just connect this somehow. Whoa, I did not want to do this. Oh, maybe let's just draw it. Cool. Maybe let's start from mobile because this is something I feel like I at least know something. So I want to have Android and iOS app. And for iOS, I definitely would like to have a watch complication. Probably same for Android, but I have no experience with, even as a user, with Android watches. Anyway, let's add some arrows. And we have few options here because we can use some multi-platform tools like Flutter. I don't have commercial experience with Flutter, but I created an app for my wedding using Flutter, and it was fun. I know it works on Android. I didn't check it with iOS, but I still enjoyed using it. Like Dart is, I think, decent language to use. But I don't know yet if I want to use it here. Let's maybe just put an icon. Copy image. Cool. Let's put an icon like between Android and iOS. The reason I'm not a fan of multi-platform technologies, especially for this case, is that I want to use some background services. Or maybe I will have to implement some lower level native stuff to make it work and or to communicate with watch. And I really don't know if Flutter is ready for it, or I will have to still use some native language, so Swift for iOS or Kotlin for Android. And if I have to use some native language, then why not code the whole app in it and remove the issue with like bridging one with another. Uh, Another multi-platform solution would be probably React Native. Let's copy image. And this is something I definitely don't want to use. Uh, I guess it's personal bias. I just don't buy it. I don't want to write mobile apps in JavaScript or TypeScript or whatever. Uh, is there anything else? There's Kotlin multi-platform. Uh, okay, that's the icon I want. And I'm pretty sure I cannot use Kotlin multi-platform to write everything, so because it doesn't cover UI. Although I think Jetpack Compose has some ability, or sorry, or soon-ish it should have some ability to also create UI for both Android and iOS. And that would be interesting to check, but I'm not yet sure if that's possible. But I will just put Jetpack Compose icon if I find it. Yeah, I got it. Come on. Like, why? Okay. So those are like multi-platform solutions I know about. There, okay, there is like Ionic or some other JavaScript frameworks to do this. I definitely, if I don't want to use React Native, I definitely don't want to use Ionic. I was using it like 10 years ago or even longer, and I don't want to go back there. But there are also natives. So for iOS, we have Swift, and that's something I don't know anything about, but I definitely want to try it. I looking from like syntax perspective, it's very similar to Kotlin. Kotlin definitely is something I want to use on Android because I'm pretty familiar with it. But there are still parts of Kotlin that I don't feel like I know good enough, like coroutines. I'm using them, but I'm not that sure if I'm using them the right way. Okay, so that's this. Uh, Oh, also, I'm aiming to have only phone apps, not really tablet apps. I think it would be easier for Android to just create a different layouts and use all the same. For iOS, I usually, from my experience as a user, there is a separate app for tablet, or there is no app at all. It's like really tailored to just be used on the mobile phone, which is kind of sad. I don't know if you already have backend code in your app, then creating a new layout for tablet shouldn't be that hard. Or there is a different like way of thinking in iOS community. No idea. Anyway, I think that's like uh, mobile stuff. Maybe let's add some notes here. Uh, okay. Kotlin multi-platform would be nice to. Let's go KMM. Why it's KMM? Whatever. So it may be nice just to use it for domain code and share it between iOS and Android to not have to like write everything twice. But I also don't think there will be that much of domain code, honestly. Uh, Especially in the first like 3 phases of the application, I think it's better for me to focus on just writing Android app and then figure out what I want to share with iOS and what's even shareable. Uh, sure. Okay. Flutter. And React Native is just pure no. Can I just like okay, go fuck yourself? For Swift, I don't know Swift at all, so I'll have to learn it. Also, the stream will be a lot of me learning languages the hard way because I don't want to do tutorials. I just want to implement and learn how to implement the stuff I need at the time I need it. So I'll be making a lot of really bad decisions and ugly code, but who cares? And Kotlin here would be, I don't to add a note to Kotlin, but for iOS and Android, I also want to make a new like not app, but like complication because I want to have okay app. and complication. Because it would be nice to start your Pomodoro from your app, but also to see on the watch face that you have something ongoing. Mhm. Okay, so that's it. For browser extension, I actually have no idea. How to even start. I will have to do some research and then figure out. I don't know if there are frameworks or ways of doing it, or you just use. I think for Chrome at some point it was Dart that was used for browser extension. Not sure anymore if that's true. And no idea about other browsers. For desktop apps, I will leave backend to the end because that's like the. It doesn't look like it from this system design. I think maybe system design is like basic system design, but the backend will be huge. I mean, huge part of this whole project, and I want to really put some effort into it. I'm not really a backend developer. I have some experience, but not that much. So desktop apps, even though they will be developed like at the latest stage, there are also few ways of doing it. So I definitely want to have macOS app, and maybe I can just copy Windows app, and Linux. Okay, let's connect those. By the way, the direction of the arrow doesn't really mean anything here, but cool. And there is at least two ways to implement all those native apps, desktop apps. I mean, let's not call it native because they might not be native, but there is a way, two ways to do it, to make it work on macOS, Windows, and Linux, and it's already on the board, and it's called Flutter. Let me just copy it. Uh, at least I'm pretty sure you can do it on macOS and Windows. I will still have to check it, but Flutter has also some ability to create desktop app. Uh, okay, so I need to spike it definitely, but there is also a JavaScript framework called Electron.js that definitely can work on all of those, and I know it because I've been using some software that was written in Electron or with the Electron, and it worked everywhere. And this is why I picked that particular software. Uh, but I also need to check this. The software I've been using that was written in Electron, I think there are like two apps. One is a Git client called Git Kraken. I really enjoyed it until it was paid, or when the free tier of it was okay for me to use. But then I just switched to using Git in IDE and in command line, and it's enough for me. modern IDE support for Git is actually amazing. And I hope you will see that in that stream later on, maybe next time. But other app, and I've been using the Git Kraken, I think on Linux, Windows, and MacOS. I'm not sure about MacOS, but they had also client for it. But other one was some chat. I think Rocket Chat it was called. It's also a free chat. It's a server client system where you can install server locally on some machine, and then you login. So it's actually like it looks kind of like Slack, but you can install it on your uh, on on your own machines, so you don't leak any of the private information to some service somewhere, or to train AI bots or whatever. It's all on your in your environment, and I found it out through the Electron like showcase website. I don't know if they still have it, but they were kind of displaying applications made with Electron.js, and that's how I found both the Rocket Chat and Git Kraken. Okay, so but those are like multi-platform solutions, let's say. Uh, do we have any other? Okay, I don't have anything in my notes. I don't know if I want to use Flutter. It would be kind of interesting to have some backend or at least the domain code in uh, Flutter, both on desktop and mobile applications. And it's kind of tempting to do it, but at least the Spike I want to do in native Kotlin because it would be least amount of hassle for me. Uh, I also wonder if Flutter can be used for browser extensions. Maybe it's worth trying. I will just put a note here. What else? If Dart can be used. Okay. And basically that's it. I don't really want to use any native language like C# probably for Windows, or some, I don't know, Java FX or whatever to use on Linux, because Linux has also so many graphic environments and distributions, and making sure that it works on every single one of them using some native approach, it will be horror. I definitely don't want to do this. So I think I will pick either Flutter or Electron.js. I'm kind of curious of using native approach for macOS, so probably using Swift. So I may end up in using Swift for macOS and Electron or Flutter for Windows and Linux. And I'm more curious actually about using Electron for some reason. But if after Spike I decide to go Flutter on mobile, I will also need some spikes for that to especially check uh, the apps. I think the Watch app and complication, they definitely cannot be written in Flutter. So they would have to be native. And if I go native in those pieces, I may go native in the whole application, because using few different languages, or like having it in monorepo and then sharing some code, sometimes is worth it, but it's usually a pain. And I will be single developer on this project. I really don't want to have. I want to learn some stuff, but definitely not through the pain. I want to have some fun. Okay. So maybe let's put those two more like between Windows and Linux. And backend. No, no, that's not really a cherry on top. That's like the whole gem. Because there are few things to consider here. So first would be the framework, I guess. Let's make it smaller because the framework will also dictate what languages I can use. And like I said, I'm pretty good with Kotlin. I'm okay with Java, but I hate Spring Boot. So yeah, or Spring itself. Let's just copy an image with Spring. Sure. And I don't want to use it. Uh, Even though I know the language that is used in Spring and I know the how to configure it, how the build file looks in Gradle or whatever. I'm working with Spring right now in my day job, but I don't want to use it. I really hate the uh, complexity of it. You can do a lot of stuff there quickly if you know it, but if you don't know it, it's kind of cryptic, like how the filters can help you with logging something in monitoring. Like I don't want to deal with it. You basically use annotations for anything. I think the I in Spring is nice, but also it's hard to figure out, for me at least, what goes where and what talks with which other classes or something. I just really don't want to do this. Uh, and I'm actually looking into using JavaScript for the backend framework. So one of the frameworks I've been working uh, with already is Express.js. I don't know which one is the right image, but okay. No. So Express.js, uh, as much as I know it, it's pretty quick and easy to do anything I want. It's easy to set up and run it locally. I think there is a ton of tutorials, help guides, Stack Overflow information about any issues I may have. But another thing that is interesting for me, I also, in this whole project, I didn't mention, and I won't, uh, like web app. I really don't want to do this. I don't see any point of creating a web app for the Pomodoro timer if you have a mobile app, a browser extension, and a native, semi-native, like the desktop app. Why would you want to log in the page and have a tab opened? Like focus on your work, not on the tabs or whatever. So I definitely don't want to do a web application. And because of that, I don't need to pick a framework like Angular or something. There is another framework like Next.js, I think. I've heard, but as far as I know, this is more for web apps, not for the backend only. So it might not be suitable. Uh, and I don't think I want to use vanilla JS. I think I want to try TypeScript because I never used it. From what I heard, and this is not my bubble of technology that I'm working usually. Uh, there are some bigger projects or libraries that are turning their back from the TypeScript and using just the JavaScript. I don't know the context. I don't understand the problem yet, but I really want to test to play a bit with TypeScript and have my own opinion. Okay, other frameworks that I could use is probably something in Python. So like Flask. I think it's oh, okay. Found the icon. Uh, why copy image? So there is Flask, it's or Django. Also, it's using Python. I played a bit with those. I cannot say that it was a pleasant experience, maybe because I don't know Python enough to work with those effectively. And I also wouldn't like to use Python for this project. Uh, I enjoy Python as much as I can for like simple scripts, replacing Bash scripts. But usually, if I have to write something to just like a little tool to run on my machine, I will start with Bash. And if it's too complex, then I will jump to Python. Uh, but like maybe not. Uh, okay, do I have any other frameworks? I don't think so. Okay, so those were frameworks. We also have some other piece of backend called databases. And it kind of depends on the second phase, so system design, like what information I will actually want to store and how. But there are some databases that I would like to work and some that I wouldn't like. So, for example, there is a Firestore. So I'm already using like that's decided and not questionable. I'm using Firebase for user authentication and stuff. So I may use Firebase, Firestore just to keep it everything under one platform. And yes, this is vendor locking. I don't care. It's making my life easier at this point. So I don't consider this to be a technical debt yet. There's MongoDB that I have been using. And by the way, those two are document databases, not really relational databases, because I don't think I will need the relationship database at all. Like database will be used if anything else to store a single user data, his tasks, uh, like pomodoro status, which task is started at what time, and maybe do some not real calculations, but to store information how many pomodoro timers were started for particular time. But this will uh, I first need to figure out what I actually want this app to do in the second phase after I solve the synchronization challenge. Yeah, I called it challenge, not a problem. But yeah, MongoDB is another choice. Uh, and if I want to go relationship, I think I would go with Postgres. But I think I don't need it. Uh, there is also like this whole system of multiple clients in the backend will be really heavy event based, and for that I may want to have some event store. Uh, I'm not really into backend stuff, so I cannot even tell if I'm saying some bullshit right now. But I may also not need it because the events that I'm interested in are very temporary. So I really don't want to calculate anything based on the fact that the user started his Pomodoro 3 years ago. Uh, I want to know, is it started now and at what time, so I can display it for all the clients. And the information, if the timer was started how many times, or whatever. Like, I don't need to store all those events. I'm more interested in the current situation of the system for the user than extracting some data from all the history, right? And the fact that, like, how many pomodoros were started for particular time, I can keep it successfully in a database, in document database, with just a simple accumulator counter, whatever. But there might be a need for some event storing, but I don't know it yet. Okay, there are also hosting issues to issues options to pick up. Like, the backend has to live somewhere. I won't be hosting this from my own computer. Uh, there are obvious choices like AWS, but again, I'm not a backend developer. I really don't know which will suit me the best. Uh, Ideally, at the early phase of development, I would keep it on the free tier. So I don't know what's pricing on AWS, and can I use it for free for my purposes. Uh, there is also Heroku. I think I've been using it at some point. I don't know if they are also free, but also I will pick whatever is easier from the DevOps perspective, because I really hate DevOps, and I not the people, just the working with DevOps. So uh, ideally, I will have a CI to build my backend and push it somewhere, and I don't have to care about doing anything like using Terraform. I definitely don't want to use it. Uh, and just for fun, I will put DigitalOcean here, because I think I've been using them also at some point. But this is more like setting up the whole virtual server and managing it, and I also don't want to do it. I just want to push my app somewhere and 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 be able to use it without too much hassle, at least at the early stage of this project. If it grows and there are actually real users and stuff, there probably I will need to figure out it a bit better. There might be uh, also a possibility that the Firebase, like Lambdas, or how it's called, Lambdas, I think it's for AWS. Uh, Functions, cloud functions, yeah, that will be enough. So, and I won't have to figure. I mean, I will use it definitely for the beginning, like the spike, or maybe the first two phases or three, uh, for my backend solution. But if I go with cloud functions and with the Firestore, I don't need to do all that stuff, and it's tempting to actually use it. But I really want to test the TypeScript and Express.js. I guess that's like my, maybe let's highlight it. Yeah, probably I will go with this. Uh, maybe let's do highlighting for the stuff I probably will go with. Yeah, Kotlin definitely. Uh, I'm kind of interested with maybe in the later phase after I did the Android app and I start doing Swift app and figure out like, hey, maybe let's use Jetpack Compose and Kotlin to have everything on the same code base that it's easy for me to understand and to write. Even though I think Jetpack Compose, even if it's working with the iOS apps, it's in some weird alpha. And Jetpack Compose is a great thing, but it still misses a lot of stuff. Like there is you know when you have a list like in the app and you scroll it and you have an indicator like where are you in this list. There is no native implementation of that in Jetpack Compose. You can have a list and scroll it and stuff and have different behaviors to that list, but there is no indicator. You have to code it by yourself. It's kind of ridiculous. And it's been like announced 1.0 stable version 2 years ago, and it's still missing. Anyway, like looking on that from further behind. So I definitely want to use Kotlin and Swift, maybe Kotlin multi-platform, and then I would like to stick with JS for desktop apps and the server application. I have no clue about databases yet. I will have to do some research, document it, and then pick up. Same with hosting. And about browser extension, no idea. But that's probably for the next stream to figure out and start doing something. Yeah, I guess that's it from for this part. And now I can create GitHub projects. I think so. The first phase is testing the Firebase. And for that, I will need two repositories for Android app and the browser extension. And I can do it right now. I can also create a project in GitHub because I will be using GitHub for repositories for keeping the project data, like project, I mean, tickets, I know, versions, releases, whatever, for CI. It's gonna be all on GitHub. Okay, where is my browser? Okay, I created a project, or how it's called, a team organization, uh, for the purpose of this like channel, whatever. And maybe let's start with projects and create a new project. Board roadmap. Wow. I think the board is like my favorite view. Templates, team backlog, feature. Okay. How it's called? Zen timer. The nice thing is I think I can on GitHub I can connect the same project with multiple repositories, so it's visible there, and I can connect tickets with branches there, and then create a release and get changelog automatically generated if it's all connected in the correct way. And I can have everything in a single place. I still don't know how to do the documentation thing because there will be some. I want to have decision records and probably some tech proposals just for the sake of me documenting what I tested, what I picked, and why. And I don't know where to put it because I will have multiple repositories. I don't want to go monorepo yet, maybe never. And doing monorepo just to keep documents in a single place is kind of wrong. You should have stronger arguments for going monorepo because it doesn't come for free. I think I will stick with Obsidian as my main hub for notes for the like decision record and tech proposals. And because it's using Obsidian uses just Markdown, it would be easy to then copy it to some repository and maybe create a GitHub pages from it. Anyway, let's create the projects here. Then progress done. Okay. Maybe let's also roadmap. Cool. Okay, so the first stage was creating Android app. And also I need a repository for the browser extension. And I need to create Firebase project. I'll put more details in the tickets later. What else I need there? Mm. Yeah. Actually, but fashion. Actually, and yeah, I need verification. Yeah, the white face. Where's my obsidian? Okay, right. Bad. This. Okay, survive. That's like I guess those time with and hey, the two I know so those two issues, one issues because can be I haven't been using okay, that's it. Next and I'll just try to make or could have scenes